We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. And today's episode is the season Fauxnale of The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 16, A Certain Doom. And I'm with CosmoMom09, Rachel Burt, and
hey.
I am David Cameo, the person that does the things. And so this is episode 101. If you noticed, it's a little out of sequence. However, I mean, we were lucky enough to push out episode 100 part 1 just before this. So it's technically in sequence. But I was just telling Rachel a whole bunch of things in the pre-show, which basically, we start recording, we give the people who give us coffees a little extra, for tuning in, and we gave them a lot of extra in terms of what our new banners are. Our new banner is going to look like for the website, the YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Twitch. I am very curious to know where you would like to start, Rachel, because I think we should do overall impressions first, right? Because we've been waiting for several months for this, and it finally came, and I think I know what you're going to say, but I'd like to hear you say it.
Yeah. Overall impressions, I mean, you knew I had concerns about the huge weight that we had, and I kept getting nervous, right? Like, how are they possibly going to live up to this hype?
Right.
How are they going to deliver something to us that is worth this 6-month wait? And maybe I'm just a little biased, but I mean, they totally delivered, right? I mean, this was everything. I think for me personally, as a viewer, this was everything I wanted, with the exception of a few things, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Well, you'll laugh at my reasoning.
I figured, but yeah, I think I know where you're going with it too. But we'll get there when we cover that specific piece, which I think I know you're going to talk about. Mine is maybe similar to yours overall. It's that it was definitely worth the wait. Again, some tweaks, but definitely different than yours, I'm sure. And again, tweaks, like not really critiques. But the overall impression that I got was compressed. I felt like a lot of many different scenes were concatenated so that you get the gist of it mostly, or you get the feelings mostly. But the thing about compressed things, like when you put a soda in a can, it's in like a pressurized container or like an aerosol can. They want to get out. So like it's in here, and the more it's in here, the more it kind of unpacks in your brain because this is, we've had a week to digest this, literally a week. After midnight on Thursday, the episode was available. I wasn't able to watch it till Friday night just because of time. And again, I complained a little bit about that in the pre-show because work has been driving me crazy, etc. But again, so we've had a little bit of time to digest it. I watched it again, so it just had time to expand. And I think the initial reactions kind of reflect that, because when people were talking about it Sunday night, mainly like commentators and randos on Twitter when we're all live watching, the overall impression was like it felt rushed. I say compressed because, like I said, it just feels like the episode expanded in your head the more you let it digest throughout the week, right? So, and I guess that's really the overall impression. I will go through other things in this episode like that I would have tweaked a little bit, but not really much. You're right. It did deliver. There was finality to it. There was that badassery, typical badassery when an arc reaches its end on this show. And I broke that
satisfaction.
Yeah, that cardinal. That weird satisfaction when you finally reach the end of something that has been plaguing our survivors.
Yes. You're not the only person that I heard say that it did feel like kind of rushed, like they packed a whole bunch into that one episode. I mean, I can see how people would. It was a lot to fit into one episode, but I felt like it had a really nice flow to it. And
definitely a flow.
Yeah, I don't know,
like a river.
I don't know if I'm making this up, but I also felt like there was considerably less dialogue in this episode, and it was more about the visual story of what we were watching. And I love silent films. Watching the acting versus just hearing the lines delivered. I got that from this episode. It was more about watching what they were doing.
Yeah.
And how they were doing it.
What some of you may or may not know is that like one of my favorite series to watch is The Twilight Zone. And yes, it has its dialogue, but there are spots where, I mean, it's all about building the tension. It's all about establishing a mood, and many times in many episodes. I mean, there have been episodes where there's no dialogue on The Twilight Zone. It's all about action.
I love that.
Like fluid action. And it's amazing how in a short period of time, kind of like, what felt like this episode, again, it's not a bad thing, but in a short amount of time, they were able to establish so much. Like give you, first of all, it felt like they gave you a backstory with every episode, but just by way of motion, mood, taking its time in a weird way for a 22-minute show. And again, they did that here, but the thing about like modern television is that they gave you that, action, fluid, motion, music, but they crammed a whole bunch of other visual elements too. Because it's not like in the Twilight Zone where there's panning shots, tons of panning shots, and a lot of camera switching. In modern television, there is a lot of camera switching.
So we see Virgil in the beginning when Gabe is talking to laughing RJ and Gracie.
Smiling RJ, yeah.
Smiling RJ.
I'm scared.
We see him, approach Oceanside and kind of, walk around a little bit. We have no idea at what point in time that's happening. And then flash forward to the end of the episode, he finds Connie, who, and I mean, from the looks of Connie, this looks like shortly after she got out of the collapse, right? I mean, she's still all dirty. She's still laying in the ground. I mean, to me, this seems like very close to when that happened, right?
Right.
And then Virgil finds her.
The nature of your question itself makes me think about how out of sequence everything is. Remember when we were covering episode 1014, Michonne's exit? I think it was 1013 or 1014. Could have been, it might have been either. Whatever, Michonne's exit episode. We were saying how they were filming out of sequence because the thing that happens with Michonne happens several episodes back when she goes on the boat. And then we finally catch up to Michonne, and that's where that starts. For all we know, Virgil laid his wife to rest, says he was going to stay there, and said, fuck that shit. Remember how I said she gave up on me? Like, what am I going to stay and hold a candle to her in this place? I got to be a part of the world. I got to listen to what Michonne said right at the end of the episode, which was, as long as you're alive, there's a chance for you to do good in this world. So for all we know, he ventured off that island not too long after. And so the more the question itself actually makes me think, okay, maybe he did leave right after, and it's just before or maybe during that moment where Connie either gets buried under the rubble and has to leave with the Horde, or, with guts or whatever just she had to do to get out. Or it is really after we're seeing a Connie who was in Beta's Horde, and eventually she collapsed and the Horde trampled on her in the forest as they moved. And that sort of thing. Okay. So it's one of those two things. But I am in your camp, or at least in the questions camp, of it could have been way before. Virgil finds her way before. What we do know, though, is that when he goes to Oceanside, it is empty, because he was supposed to go there until he followed the cat.
Right. The pan flew and the cat led him in a different direction.
But good news, Connie's back.
Right. At least we got to see Connie. I mean, I think for the most part, most of my questions were answered.
Did you think in that short amount of time, Eugene was going to somehow bring back Stephanie to help them out in this conflict? I mean, I think we had that impression, but now that the episode's over, it seemed like a fool's errand.
Yeah, I was a little confused when Gabe was talking about the others, and then they showed the group that was going to meet Stephanie, and I'm thinking, well, first of all, I know I read the comics, so I know the end result, but even without that, let's say they were going there to ask for help. They were not going to get there, ask for help, and get back in time to help at all.
It's just one of those things that's in the back of your mind. It's like, I'm not done yet. No, you're done.
Right.
You're done. There's no, you're a man without thumbs.
Right. I mean, really, he meant Maggie, because that's who it ended up being, but he didn't know that.
It's an interesting twist. It's like this funny thing where, like, oh my God, the man of faith gets like his prayers answered, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the beginning, Beta goes begin, and there's just like dum 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 dum, like, and like it's going into the intro, right? It has the same. It's like about and then all of a sudden the intro comes in and the drums drop out. How cool would it have been if they kept the drums in for the intro? Right? For all your fucking waiting several months, couldn't have somebody have just sent the word to go, hey, let's give him some extra. Let's give him some. Hey, you, Bear McCreary, let's give him a little something extra. See those drums that you put in the end of this episode? This way, when the intro comes on, it keeps going and goes, welcome back, bitches. The Walking Dead is back. Right. That's what I was saying. I was like, look, and I'm not complaining per se, but I was like, dude, if I was doing sound design for this, I would have done that. You've been waiting a long time. It sucks. Everything sucks, but here's something to make it better. Let's give you that mood builder, like a little critique. maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll just do a video with me going do 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 do, like literally not playing the drums. I'll do it, my hands in the air pretending to play drums
with your mouth. With
my mouth. Do 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 do.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh my god. I hope somebody does that. I hope it's not me. I don't have time for that shit. But I like it. I like to.
Don't try to do that.
No, don't. Anyway, so I wanted to actually in sequence show the moments where Beta is actually hearing the walkers, basically.
Yeah.
Overall, though, the impression that I got from these moments was, and every time this sort of happened in like the last few episodes or whatever, all the episodes right after Alpha dies, is I feel like they're building up this weird kind of, this is the lore that Alpha built up, this like religion. In the Bible, there's all these things about prophets, right? Prophets hear voices. I'm thinking they're playing with the idea that Beta is like this prophet of the Whisperers.
Okay.
And he's hearing voices. But the thing about that is, in a way, you're falling for it too. Because at the end of the episode, when you look back at what they say, it's almost as though they were giving him signs of what's to come. They're almost like telling him it's over for you in some ways.
Well, at one point they literally do.
But like their words, or the voices in his head, they can be heard in two ways. So at the beginning, at the end of Gabe's speech, the crowd goes, "We are ready." A woman walker comes by and she goes, "Are you?"
Mm-hmm. Right.
And which is a very interesting choice, right? It goes,
which is him obviously questioning himself.
Exactly.
Right.
And then, we are the underworld. This is the end of the world. Again, which could be taken two ways, Like your world is crumbling or you are bringing about what the change that is necessary, right?
Yeah.
When he sees the archers from the windows, like Diane, Beta says to a whisperer, okay, tighten the herd, right?
Yep.
And then individual guardians are going together. Tighter.
And then he's like going through telling the walkers to tighten up too. Like I saw him and I'm like, they're not whisperers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's telling the walkers tighter together. And then the last one says right now.
The last one?
Yeah, it's in the subtitles. Okay, so now just before Luke's music starts playing.
Yeah.
That's when things start to turn. And the walker that walks by him, the woman walker again, says, "The end. Almost here." Just after he hears the music, the walker goes, "Our end."
I love how she's heading in one direction when she says the first line, then the music starts and she's passing him going the other direction when she says our end. And I'm like,
right.
Oh.
Creepy.
Right? And all the while, you have to remind yourself, this is Beta talking to himself. So he's also coming to the realization that this isn't working. Like this is his end.
In his head, it's like our end. Oh, the Guardians are going to disappear if I don't do something, right? Mm. But all the while, maybe he's more prophetic than he thinks, and it really is his end, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it means more than what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, again, it's like playing with our heads in a way. It's like, wait, does this religion have something to it? Like, should we be a whisperer? I don't know. Maybe. So then there's one last one, and you may have missed it. While the whispers are all dying around him, and he's like looking on, he's like, who's making my whisperers die? Because Daryl's like, let's go back in, take these guys out, and protect the tower.
Yeah.
And so one of the walkers goes by Beta and goes, Alpha.
Oh, I thought that was Lydia.
No.
I thought Lydia said that to get his attention.
No, it was a walker.
And then she turns around and looks at him.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's a walker. Watch this. And this is what's so creepy. Again, plays with your head because he doesn't see Lydia with Alpha's mask yet. The walker says Alpha, and then he doesn't see it. He's like looking, and then all of a sudden, like something parts. One of the walkers parts, and he sees from the back of Lydia's head with Alpha's mask on, and she looks back this way. She looks behind her, and so that's the weird part. It's like
that's why I thought it was Lydia. To me it sounded like Lydia trying to get his attention.
You actually see the walker mouth the words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that's what's creepy. That's what's so creepy because it's like, what? Wait, is this real? Is he really a prophet? Again, it's just weird.
Why would his subconscious be telling him that Alpha's out there if he hadn't seen her yet?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's almost a question.
Which is why I thought it was Lydia. because he wouldn't have known.
Because that's the only thing that explains it, right? But at the same time, it's them fucking with you. It's the writers. It's narrative fucking with you. But this is why that makes sense. I might as well launch into this because again, a lot of what this is, in the end of the day, it's not just the religion. It's Half Moon's subconscious coming out. It's his past coming back to drag him down, right? Because the thing about Half Moon, I'm going to call him Half Moon now, right? Obviously, he went to a clinic because whatever it was about the crowd and the music was not satisfying to him any longer, right? I mean, is that the impression that you might have gotten? I don't know. Like, what do you think was his story? What do you think made him go into the nutty house?
Well, I got the impression that probably fame got to his head and went crazy.
That's what I thought too. And there's like little bits of like tiny bits of evidence that support that, like One Night Only, like that poster, like for One Night Only, meaning, okay, it clearly he couldn't handle anymore, and he pops out every now and again, right? You know,
well,
here and
there. The way he sees the walkers talking to him, very much looks like an audience too, and how he would, see an audience and probably imagine what they were saying because you can't hear everybody talking. So, maybe he made up what fans were saying about him and doing the same with the walkers.
Right. And doesn't the impression kind of go to you that like the Whisperers kind of like his roadies,
right?
Like his stage crew.
Sure.
Hey, tighten the herd there, buddy. Like look, right? we got to please the crowd. So this is what and it's never more clear than the end scene. Like I call this a requiem for Beta. Daryl obviously sticks the knives into his fucking face, specifically his eyes, and the moment the knives hit his eyeballs, right? And by the way, if you're looking carefully, it doesn't go through and hits his brain. No. It goes at such an angle that it goes and you see it in his mouth.
When like it just goes through in his dream, you can see it coming out through his mouth. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So the montage starts and again, different colors because now he can't see. So this is what he's thinking is happening, right? So the montage starts with Beta pulling Daryl's knives out, and then it starts with in darkness, literally, we are free. So he can't see anymore. Mm-hmm. We bathe in blood, we are free. It's a flashback to when he meets Alpha in the beginning and Lydia, and she says, "You're not broken." Killing Mary, she tears off some of his mask. Yep. Remember that. We love nothing. Alpha's head on a stick. So like he's like has to remind himself he loves nothing, even though he was upset about Alpha. We are free.
He loved
Alpha's head. Yeah, Alpha's head in the room in the back of the bar, staring at Alpha's head. Right. Mm-hmm. We fear nothing. The Guardians start to gather around him in his head again. Because now we're still in the montage scene. The Guardians gather around him as he has his hands up, praising, "We are free." Yeah. We embrace our death. Alpha's head in his hands after he put her down. His adoring fans are all feeling him up in his head. Again, we're still talking about in his head. They're not trying to eat him yet. Right. Or anything like that. Or at all, maybe. I don't know.
No, you see a lot of this,
Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of caressing.
Yeah, like just sort of like, like you would do to a celebrity. Well, some people might.
Exactly. Okay, and then it's now is the end of the world. We are the end of the world. Okay, and then I write immediate laughter. But in reality,
right?
Daryl's the one who pulls the knives out right afterwards. It's like if you don't really, again, compressed. You're like if you're not really paying attention, you'll miss this stuff. Daryl takes the knives out. The walkers tear the Alpha side of his mask off first. So again, like so that's why I said remember what Mary does, like why he thinks of Mary in that moment. The Alpha side comes off first. So now you're left thinking, oh, is he a fraud? Is that what that means? Was he never meant to be the Alpha and he's like relieved? What does that mean, right? And then the rest of his mask, they pull the rest of his mask off. Okay, now you're thinking like, okay, why are they bothering, right? Because like, why aren't they just eating him? And then, because again, all the stuff before in his head, all the things that he hears in his head, and yet they're a little prophetic. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Are they going to just feel him up and wait? Because he's still in bliss. Now his hands aren't up in the air in the next scene. His hands are like down by his sides. But he's looking on, he's in bliss. He's smiling through he's like crying bloody tears without eyeballs. And a little goo goo gaga because like obviously his palate is punctured and all that stuff, so like blood's pouring out of his mouth. And they do kind of feel him up as he goes on the way down. It's this weird kind of like grabbing at his face, but clearly it's like weird.
There was one specific walker right in front of him that like a few times I thought was going in for a kiss, and I'm like, and then I thought, well, no, they're eating him, right? They're gonna eat his face, but it didn't. Like this walker never did. They just sort of like fell into the crowd with him. And I'm like, they're not eating him.
Exactly. But in the end, he goes down, they start eating, you hear the sounds a little bit. Again, fucks with your head because you're like thinking, I mean, it's not exactly the way he envisions it in his head. And yet, there's just something about it, how it goes down, that it's like, is he a prophet? Is this how it's meant to be? He's happy on the way down. There's no screaming. He's the only one that doesn't scream.
Which is weird also, right? Because before he was stabbed in the face, he could walk around them and they never attacked him. He's still not screaming or bringing attention to himself. He still should, smell like death. Maybe that's why they didn't eat him right away. They were confused.
Well, the blood.
They're like,
it was the blood.
Yeah, they're like, you smell dead, but you also smell good. I don't get it.
I actually put this at the night of when we were live tweeting. This is like the only time you'll ever hear me say, have you ever read the book the book Perfume?
No.
The book is about a man who smells like nothing. He becomes a perfumer, which is weird because he wants to like smell like something. At the end of the day, people put impressions on him based on how he smells or what he chooses to smell like or what he doesn't smell like. He becomes the thing that they hate the most in themselves. Their perceptions of him. So that's not the point. The point is he basically works towards creating a scent that makes everybody absolutely love him. When he does that, he finds out that it makes him miserable. He wonders, is it me or is it the scent? In his absolute crushing depression, the realization that there's just no point in going on because it's either this or be nothing, right? It's either feast or famine. It's either give them the scent and they'll love you for no real reason other than the scent, or smell like nothing and go about through life being the object of other people's things that they hate in themselves, essentially. He chooses to actually douse himself in the scent. He takes the bottle out and just pours it all over him. And this is what made me think of the beta scene, is that people in homes and blocks away are coming towards the scent because they're attracted to it. And all of a sudden, they're adoring him, they're caressing him, and then all of a sudden, they're eating him whole. They're tearing him apart because they want a piece of him. Like, they love him so much that they tear him apart.
I might have to check the book out.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It does tell you how
it sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
It is. A movie was made to actually, about the book, but I've never seen it. I've only read the book, and it's not that long either.
No,
not a very long book, but it's a very interesting one. It actually stuck with me.
The only thing I really have to say about the others is
I'm not done yet. Sorry.
Is that I absolutely love that Princess is on the show. I cannot wait to see more of her. I love her one-liners. I love the actress, everything she brings to this character. I can't wait to see more Princess. The teeny little bit of her we got this episode was not enough.
I think it was just enough. It was just like, by the way, in that little bit of compression, like she belts out these one-liners in between things people say. And it's perfect, right? Yes. But who does that kind of remind you of, though? Because it really only just occurred to me till just now. Eugene's old pal.
Tara?
And guardian.
Tara?
In a sense, Abraham.
Oh, okay.
And Tara.
I was thinking
that makes sense, too.
Attitude.
But like you must be a really horny dude.
Right?
Like that's a little Abraham stank on it, right?
Yeah.
If Abraham and Tara, even though she was a lesbian confirmed, like fully all the way, right? Yeah. If they had a love child, that'd be Juanita Sanchez.
I think so.
And okay, so we get to the rail yard. Eugene's, he's like, I guess, you know what? Fuck this shit. Maybe we can find other people to help. Maybe we can find these people. Who knows? Mm-hmm. And then I immediately thought, oh, Fear the Walking Dead much?
Right.
Kirsten Acuna, because I have to give credit where credit is due, she actually eagle-eyedly pointed out right behind Princess. She gets up, she goes up to Eugene, she goes, damn, you're one horny dude. As she's getting up, you see right behind her, in the train car behind her, PM/ underneath that 110. Keep that in your mind. And then RX, and underneath that 04. The one I want you to focus on, because I saw the RX later. What does PM stand for?
Pamela. Thank you. I totally blanked on her last night. I'm like Pamela.
And then the stormtroopers come out, basically.
Okay. Well, I mean,
that
is interesting. It could definitely be Pamela. I was still kind of thinking that Georgie's going to be the Pamela character.
I know. Well, what do you think RX means, Rick? Rick was here?
The first thing I think when you say RX is prescription.
Right, exactly. Pamela is the prescription. But I was also thinking, okay, so it's yeah. Or Stephanie's got the cure for Eugene's boner ailment. Anyway.
Yeah.
Who needs Viagra when you got Stephanie? Anyway, so what's interesting about the 110 is don't think of it as 110. Think about it as 11-0, as in season 11.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know.
I'm just really reaching, but I like it.
I'm reaching, but it's the only explanation we have right now.
I'll allow it.
Let's move on to the Stormtroopers, because I heard Chris, like the spirit of Chris from BMNY Deadcast, in my ear going, "What the fuck is this shit?" I felt the spirit of Chris move me. But it's really me. It is really me. I mean, I have mixed feelings about their uniforms.
Okay.
Mixed. I say mixed pointedly. Do you have any bones to pick with them at all?
Not really.
Or were you too excited? Is that what it was?
Not at this point, only because, I mean, that's exactly what they look like in the comic books.
I know.
Exactly what they look like.
I know.
The only thing I would hope to see is maybe an explanation for the uniforms. Where did they come from? I mean, I assume maybe they were just left over from something and they took a supply and I don't know. An explanation would be nice, I guess. Not necessary.
You know what, though? No, I demand an explanation, because there's got to be one of these characters are going to have to say something, like, and you know who it's going to be. It's going to be Princess. What is the fucking deal with these bright-ass uniforms?
I mean, they're not very stealthy, that's for sure.
Okay, so think back to when you saw the first time you saw a uniform from any other group like this, which was Isabel, right? Or Isabel and her partner, right? I was thinking at the time, I don't know if you were, was like, okay, good. They're moving away from that janky ass, bright colored, out of nowhere, weird as fuck, doesn't make sense in a survival setting outfit, right? And then here we are, like, oh shit, we're dealing with a completely different entity, which I did predict, but still.
It tells me that they don't need to be stealthy. It tells me that what they're doing, they're not afraid of being seen.
Exactly. I think the point is to be seen.
Be afraid of us.
Right. As opposed to the CRM, which is, if you do see us, it's already too late. That sort of thing. Yeah. Whereas maybe with Pamela Middleton's group, it's more like, we want you to see us, but maybe we'll give you a chance, obviously, because of this scenario. You said something very specific before, that Georgie is really Pamela Middleton, right? You made the assumption.
When we first met Georgie, I immediately thought, oh, she is a Pamela. And Jane Atkinson, the actress, fits that character role too.
Let's take a couple things into account. We meet her first in season 8, A Key to the Future. This could be the very beginning of whatever project she's on, and so she doesn't have too much, but eventually over time, say 6 or so years, 7.5, just call it. Timelines, not very fun. She may have given copies of this book to a bunch of people, and then she's built some sort of weird outpost-like thing where it's almost like a confederacy. Like, a confederacy is you're all part of the same country, but you kind of govern yourselves. You don't really have to abide by these other states' rules. Like, you're all your own little states, your own little principalities, with, a very loose, non-centralized government. I'm just here to kind of be a custodian, right? I visit your groups. I say, hey, what can I do for you? How can I facilitate trade with this state? Blah, blah, blah. But otherwise, you guys govern yourselves. What doesn't fit with the whole Commonwealth thing is that obviously you meet her. She has these weird sisters or whatever trying to guard her. Fine. I'll take it. Whatever. Do you really think that Georgie herself got to the point where she has these crazy ass, flashy ass soldiers in bright armor? I only say this as a question. I don't know the answer to this, but what do you think?
I think it's possible. Yes. Let me clarify. I think it's possible that Georgie could have come upon a community that maybe already had this established, and she got herself to a leadership role.
Kind of like a Daenerys situation where she found the guys, the eunuchs with the spears, and that became her army automatically.
Yes, yeah.
Now here's the third thing that throws a wrench into the whole thing. If that's the case, first of all, how does Maggie know to come to the group? Did Georgie send her? Did Stephanie tell Georgie and she sent her? My thought is almost that Maggie and maybe Georgie are completely unaffiliated. We know for a fact that Maggie and Georgie had communications. We know that she went a while ago, right after Rick, was offed or whatever. We know that she never came back and stopped communicating at some point during the 5-year time jump. She just stopped communicating. We don't know what happened. And they assumed, I don't know what they assumed. Maybe when Jesus died, they just kind of like, things just happened so fast we stopped questioning. What I'm trying to figure out is whether Georgie is responsible for sending Maggie. How does she know to actually go to this group right now?
Well, we see her read that letter, but we have absolutely no idea at what point in time that's happening. Did she read it and then just sit on it for however long and then just show up when she felt like it? Even more to your point, is someone watching?
And if that's the case, then it can't be that Georgie is with the Commonwealth or Maggie left the Commonwealth a long time ago. Something might have happened at that point where Maggie couldn't get those letters or was kept behind to not get those letters, etc. Or she had to leave and she was not able to come back, etc. But let's go back. In the opening minutes, Gabe's speech, where Maggie picks up the box, reads the letters, etc. She's wearing an off-white shirt, like a loose off-white shirt. Same hat, right? It's warmer, obviously. You know, you find out near the end, okay, it's closer to fall, to autumn. She's wearing a hat. She's wearing a big-ass scarf, a zip-up shirt, which is a completely different color, a backpack. Hair is a little longer, too, I think. So, we may have been on to something when we said this was a little bit warmer weather. She's reading this way in the past. It's warmer weather, which means in winter, just before winter is when Henry got slaughtered. Time has passed. It could have been spring. Let's say we're in winter. She read this like maybe half a year ago, 6 months. Oh my God, 6 months ago. Kind of like how long it took for us to get this episode. Isn't that weird? It's fall now. Do you think, okay, knowing that, do you think that's why they may have done the CG in that way? Like to line it up? She reads the letters in April, let's say, and you're staring at Carol on the cliff and it's autumn and it's this weird confluence of like, oh, is The Walking Dead real? Is it out there? But I'm trying to make sense out of this because, yeah, I mean, it could have been that time passed this long and then she knew to come back. Or
we don't know where she was either. We don't know how long it took her to get from where she was to here. I mean, for all we know, she left immediately and it just took her that long. We don't know where she did.
Right.
So,
but the letters have to be somewhat close because we know that they were delivered near Oceanside. So it's not too far away, right? Now, here's the way out. I kind of figured out the way out of my trap of like, how does Maggie know to come? What do we hear at the end of that episode? You know, after Judith and the king hang up, you hear a voice, right? Whose voice did we find that it is? It's Stephanie's, right? What if Maggie in that time did we
confirm that was Stephanie's voice?
I think it's safe to assume.
I mean, I'm assuming, but
what if Maggie had told Stephanie to reach out to our group after reading the letter or something?
Why not Maggie herself?
Maybe after reading that's a good question. Maybe Maggie doesn't want to have to come back.
Bitch. Sorry, but
see, and let's enter into this conversation because I know you had joined the rant about Maggie and not liking her.
With Maggie. I'm constantly back at
tepid.
She's very human. I'll give her that, right? I mean, her actions are very human, and so it's easy to get mad at her when she makes dumb decisions.
And we went through this actually when we talked about her going away, which was like, okay, in a way, she was kind of responsible for Rick, quote unquote, dying because she was obstinate, did not want to participate in this plan and said, just leave us alone. We're doing fine. You know, we're not going to let the saviors drag us down, you know, as a community. We're going to choose to stay out of this. They can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But not to get political. But then when she finds out that she's kind of partially responsible for all of this happening, the bridge camp getting overrun, the two walkers merging to the super horde, etc. Yeah, and then Rick goes away. So then she goes away. She's like, you know what? I can't do this. Let me try again with another community. I failed this one.
I hope we get an explanation for her leaving. I mean, we don't. She just sort of up and left.
I mean, I suppose you're right. We will eventually figure it out because at some point Maggie is going to feel like, fuck, I guess I have to help them because things suck. Maybe if I would have been there, maybe some of this would not have happened.
Do you think she feels like a sense of responsibility? Like, how could she not feel a little bit responsible for this group of people that she left behind? I would.
Sometimes when you wrong someone, if they're not strong enough to walk away, you feel like, I can't keep hurting you like this. It was kind of like the Daryl and Carol conversation, right?
Okay.
We're like, I can't keep doing this to you. And so you go, I have to remove myself from the situation because you guys will keep taking me back and you don't deserve that. And so there is that kind of mentality going on, you know, like where Maggie's kind of like, had I just cooperated a little bit, maybe the sanctuary would still be around. Maybe Rick would still be alive. Maybe the whole project wouldn't have gone to shit. Right. And so she feels responsible. And so she feels she needs to extricate herself from this entire project. maybe they're better off without me because I couldn't stick my head out of my ass long enough to see that, to maybe try a little bit, you know?
Maybe. Do you think maybe part of her, I also thought maybe part of her, she left because she couldn't trust herself to be that close to Negan anymore and not kill him.
I think she got her resolution in that respect. I don't think she was ready to leave after that. I think because if you remember, she and Michonne are at that scene, and
the pathetic scene. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's holding back Michonne, just like Michonne held her back when they decided to save Negan. I do think she feels responsible. And now she feels doubly responsible because she's like thinking, maybe if I stayed, had I just forgiven myself long enough, like maybe this wouldn't have happened. You know, this is like the faulty thinking of like thinking that you did something, you know, you helped the group out by leaving it. And maybe that wasn't such a good call, you know? But you know what? The very question that we're asking right now is what Carol's going through near the end of the episode, because she's like, there's all these people who don't quite want me dead, obviously, but they do think, you know, Birdie's giving me the side eye. Diane's giving me, giving it to me straight. You let Negan destroy Hilltop, essentially.
Right.
He killed the 2 Hilltop scouts and hung them from trees. His old message, so that they would know it's him. Daryl definitely knew right away.
Yeah.
So you let that happen. That was our people. She's sort of getting it from Oceanside a little bit. And Lydia is just kind of giving her a pass, and we'll go back to that in a sec. But by the end of the episode, she cannot forgive herself. She's like, better to leave. They're only going to know me as this. All I'll ever be. I mean, you see Negan and Lydia playing with these feelings as well. We'll never be accepted, no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try. I can't do this anymore. I need to leave. And so that's the interesting thing about this question, is because that question does come up, and it may come up when we talk about Maggie. Like, I may not want to kill myself because I've got a son to raise. I don't think she's even nearly there, but she does feel responsible and thinks they're probably better off without me. If I had just been wiser and not stubborn. But it's a funny thing when you actually see Maggie do the very thing Michonne does later. We need to worry about our community. Scars, you know, and then she has this thing, no outsiders, you know? Funny thing how everybody kind of goes through that a little bit. It's good to be back, isn't it, right? Just want to say that out loud.
It is.
We get to go through everything and only keep some.
I think there's really only one other thing in this episode that I wanted to talk about at length. Everything else, I think I just kind of had passing thoughts or like impressions on.
Let's talk about the pan flute in the room. Now, you may not remember since it's been half a year, but when we discussed the episode where Beta discovers the tower, he sees a cat. The cat's one of the cats that ran away, as opposed to the cat that stayed. Right. And the cat leads him back to the tower. Now, when the cat strafes across the screen, and we had this in the episode because we just threw it in there, there's this little pan flute. It goes. Now wait, because it comes back. Every time our groups of 2 come across a whisper. As the whisper brings up their knives, or, you know, you see the whisper come out behind a walker. The same pan flute, but like even more loud. It's much more prominent, and it's like much more like out there. Like, it's not the same tune, but it's still a pan flute. So it's like,
okay.
It's really weird. So
like an alarm.
I literally was like, oh my God, this is so fucking funny. I cannot wait to talk about this on the show. Like, I can tell you that a pan flute comes out each and every time, but I can't replicate the feeling that I get when you see the cat coming across the screen, Beta losing his fucking mind. And then but now and again, this goes back to the Prophet, right? Because at first it was Beta, right? Beta is when the pan flute comes out. Now we're hearing the pan flute with all the whispers. We're like, oh my God, it's the disciples of the Prophet. They can hear the pan flute too. So it's like throughout the season, whoever's been doing the score is having a fucking field day. The trumpets in Squeeze, the Goonies-esque trumpets, the pan flute. Oh my fucking God. It's like, it's just the sound design. It's just so funny. It's so fucking funny.
Obviously I heard it, but it didn't like sink in or register. I was thinking I was so focused on something else during that scene.
Obviously a lot of whispers got murked, either by Hawkeye's arrows. Diane, better than Hawkeye.
So cool.
So stellar.
so cool.
And by the way, Scott is there with her. Just wanted to mention that out loud.
And
Scott,
and Rachel too.
Kenrick Green, Sonequa Martin Green's husband. And Rachel, yes. Rachel from Oceanside. Get a little bit more of a role from her leadership style. Sure. Rachel Ward. Okay, this is kind of like what we were feeling when the kingdom was actually on a path to one of the outposts. Like, yeah, and yet I smile. We're going to go through the forest. And then all of a sudden, the Gatling gun comes out and starts mowing down our people, right?
Yeah.
And what was that moment in this episode?
Beatrice. Ugh, I saw it coming the second I saw her face.
Oh, because we hadn't seen it in so long.
As soon as I saw Brianna, I went, "Oh no!"
Maybe there's like this like Friday the 13th kind of moment where, okay, couple rules. If you have sex, you die. If you talk shit about like our group, you die. So like right when she was like not trusting Lydia, I'm like, oh, it's going down. It's going down.
So as soon as
she has lines, it's going down.
Right.
Because you don't really hear her speak too much either, too.
Not a whole lot. She's got some good one-liners too. But as soon as I saw her, I was immediately worried. I'm like, oh God, no. And then Jules was there too, and I thought, okay, we're good. All right, we're gonna lose Jules. I don't have Brianna's safe. And then
wait, but hold on. Let's stick with Jules for a second, because why did you think that? There's expressions of love.
Because losing Jules would have an emotional impact on another character. Jules is a familiar character. The viewers know her, and we would have, an emotional response to losing her as well. And then we would feel for Luke. So losing Jules would be a good death. It would have the right amount of impact and not, jeopardize anything, because she's not, in the main, fold there. So
right. Even though like they're establishing something just to rip it away, which makes sense for this show,
which makes sense. Yes, they do it all the time.
And yet this is interesting kind of weird bait and switch going on here, because they're pointing an arrow to it. Like it's obvious. Oh, it's going to happen. Jules is going to get ripped from, or Luke is going to get ripped from, who knows?
Okay.
Like, you're thinking both things.
Crossed my mind, but yeah. I was thinking more Jules so we could see the impact it had on Luke. But as soon as I saw who Beatrice walked out the door with, I knew. Oh
God, the harbinger of doom that is Carol.
That was the end for Beatrice. And the whole time, Eric will attest to this. From that moment, I was just petrified. I'm like, no.
Oh, she did.
She's dead. And they're gonna bring her back just to kill her. I was so mad.
Right, because we were starting to like her over the pandemic. We were like, oh, we're watching her videos, etc., etc. And so that's the weird thing too. Like, yeah, we're like getting to know her through these videos, these quarantine videos, right? That we were talking about, like in our trailer breakdown of episode 1016, I even put in one of those videos, and it's like, okay, but now wait, let's go back to that trailer breakdown video. What was the funny thing that we actually threw up on the screen? And that was this dinner, this dinner where everybody's together. Oh, we wrapped up and blah blah blah. Everything's great. That was her death dinner with all the cast.
Yeah.
Did it occur to you when you saw it?
Not then. Nope, not at that time. No, of course not.
And now the circle is complete. Oh, don't be sad. Oh,
all I wanted was Beatrice to come back to the show, and then when she does, she dies. I'm so mad.
Right, but like, see, and that's like, and this is this weird kind of return to like the Highwaymen, right? Like, I don't think the show understood how well people would respond to them.
Yeah, like, sometimes you don't know until it happens. You know?
Really don't. You really don't. I mean, look, and this is a personal thing. When we saw Anthony Michael Lopez, who played a background character named Oscar, who was named on the show, Oscar. You heard his name every now and again. He got murked at the wagon train with the burning down the house music and all that stuff, which we'll get to at some point. But, I had a response too. I'm like, oh, not him too. Oh, he's so nice on Instagram. He's such a sweet guy. He just bought a house. Also, like like Chandler Riggs just last year, or like sometime like season 9 or something like that. Like, oh man. Anyway, we go back to Beatrice, and it's just like,
I will say that was probably the best death that I have seen on The Walking Dead by far.
Right.
Trump's Noah's, Trump's Beth, every death that we have seen so far. I think this one, oh my God. They ripped her leg off, her arm off. They busted her breastplate chest open.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'll never forget Noah's death. Just that. that will never
traumatizing.
Yeah, nothing will top that. But like the coolest death was definitely that one. Like, yeah, Noah's is traumatizing. This was cool. You could see the breastplate, like the white underneath, right? It was almost hokey, but that's how quickly they ripped it apart.
As she's going down, she's telling Carol, not help me, but take this, take this. We need this. She knows she's going down, but her last act is to still help the group.
Right, exactly. So like, and that's what I wrote down. I'm like, dude, she's not going down without a fight. She's going down, but not without getting this out of the way, right?
It was so fast too.
Yeah, like and her screams had a purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's literally haunting, which is why she wants to kill herself at the end. Brianna Venskis, you did that. That was all you. You were responsible for Carol, the character, wanting to kill herself.
Might have been the cherry on top. But yeah, that was a mountain of stuff. Yeah,
you say the needle on the haystack. That is the guilt piling on.
But she had to keep going, right? I mean, if that would have happened to anybody, the other person had to keep going. You had to.
No, I understood too. I did
Carol
too.
did what she did. And honestly, I think that's why Beatrice didn't call out for help either. She knew she wasn't going to get help.
Oh, it's done. It's over. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
It was just, here, take the supplies, take what we need.
Counterpoint, like one could argue, Carol is just bad. We see that's the way we see her. We see her as this badass person, and maybe that's the way Beatrice sees her, and it's like, what are you doing? You're Carol. You're this person. What's going on? But Carol, in her weakened state, is saying, I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't strong enough. I failed you. I failed again. I keep making these mistakes or whatever. Or, like maybe she's just on autopilot. What else is she supposed to do? She's a survivor, blah, blah, blah. But I think she's reverting back. And then I actually wrote this down in my notes. I'm like, she's reverting back to the person who was abused. Survive another day. As the abuser goes, you don't say anything. You don't do anything. You don't hope for something next. It's like, you just I need to just survive the next day. And then the next day, maybe I'll have control over my destiny, but not today. Right. Maybe some, it's like something like my mom said one day, and this is going to sound very depressing, but like my mom used to say, oh no, maybe someday, like whenever she gets upset about something, maybe someday things will be okay. Maybe someday. That was like, it's so depressing.
I say that all the time.
It never happens. Someday never comes. We know that.
No, it never comes. No,
I heard that song finally in my 20s.
It's always someday. Well, I mean, hopefully Carol can pull herself out of this now. I mean, Daryl.
Let's go back to one moment before that, though. As Daryl's setting up the tripwire, right, with the dirty bomb, or dirty bombs, actually multiple, they're talking about Michonne helping out these people.
He says, I keep thinking I'm never going to see her again, just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else. And she goes, I'm still here. What does Daryl say at the end of the episode?
That he's still here.
Because you realize what he said to her saying that.
Nothing. Yeah, that was the end of the scene. It cut. He didn't respond to that.
Yeah, I found that very interesting. And then you get to the end, he does say it. He's like, yes, I am still here.
I tried to pay closer attention on my second watch, but I still couldn't really tell. When Carol and Lydia get back from getting rid of the herd, did Daryl look surprised to you to see Carol?
I know what you're saying. I think there was a sense of not apprehension that she's still here, but more of like this weird, I didn't think I was going to see you again. Because I know...
maybe relief. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Like he almost looked relieved to see her.
Yes. Well, yeah, in a way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was like, yes, relief, but then that extra thing of like, I was fully prepared to know that I was never going to see you again.
Right.
Why? Because throughout this season, because again, we're kind of overlapping right now. This season started...
It started almost a year ago.
Because you have to realize something. It is the 8th. Our panel at NYCC was the 3rd. Either way, we're overlapping, okay? Mm-hmm. From the beginning of season 10.
Right.
So now you bring that in. What do we see in the beginning of season 10? We see a Daryl that at first is not calling Carol out. And then eventually, over time, as things pile on, calls her out. But throughout everything, he never yells at her. He never tells her what to do. He says calmly, do you think that's such a great idea? She's been through enough about Lydia when he's like basically kidnapping her. He never really gets in her way. He never really stops Carol from doing what she's going to do. He the one thing he does, and it's already over by the time it's done, is that the one thing he does is follow her when it comes to the whisper she plans on capturing to get information, right? That's clear by the end of it. Like, I may not stop her from doing what she's going to do, but at least I can try to keep her safe while she's doing it, right?
Yeah, I'll be there to...
Right, but he never gets in her way.
It'd be dangerous to get in her way.
The bottom line is he respects her. He's always respected her. That's the point. I respect your intelligence. You're a big girl. I'm not going going to take your power away. You know, you spent enough time being forced to do things you don't want to do. So I bring this out because by the end of the episode, he's like, I made my peace with it. I'm never going to get in her way. I'm never, even if it means she's going to do something that hurt ultimately, like this thing, which is leading the herd off the cliff, and I may never see her again. I will never see her again, period. He knows. And then he sees her. And you're right. There's that bit of relief, sure, but there's that bit of like, fuck, thank God, right? Like that there's like this, and speaking of thank God, by the way, that little scene where Gabriel says, I'm sending my prayers, or God be with you, or something like that, and he goes, I'm gonna need it. I thought that was kind of just interesting that he responded to that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And yet here we are. His prayers are answered.
So Lydia tells Carol, I'm not looking for another mom. I don't need that kind of relationship. This could be something more. And I thought, oh, that's really beautiful.
Or different. Different.
Yeah, something different. Yes. Thank you. That's really beautiful. You know, be more on, you know, the same level, be friends, talk about things. You know, I thought that was really pretty, you know, and then at the very end, I thought Lydia was going to kiss Carol at any second. I was just waiting for lips to smack. And I'm like, whoa, is that what she meant? But it didn't happen, and I'm like, what?
No. Hold on a second. First of all, I didn't get those vibes, but let's explore yours for a minute. Because that's interesting. I didn't even think of it that way. I didn't see it that way. But let's take it to its logical conclusion, because they're kind of like, well, when they come out to see Daryl, they're like walking through the woods. She was awesome. No, you're awesome. Let's French kiss later. Yeah, maybe in a 69 formation. You kiss my lips. I'll kiss your lips.
That took a hard left turn.
That's what I was thinking when you said that, though. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Now I'm all like messed up about it. So,
I was totally wrong. Absolutely wrong. I don't
know that you're wrong. That's the thing. We don't know.
I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. But
why?
Just for a moment, I don't know.
What makes you wrong? What about it?
Because Carol and Daryl are getting their own spin-off and Lydia's not there, so.
What if Daryl's like the driving Miss Daisy person of the group, and they're in the back seat like permanently nude?
That would be Daryl. Then it would be Daryl, Carol, and Lydia spinoff, not just Daryl. Yeah. But anyway, they're
the ones that have contracts.
When she's holding on to her, and they're, you know, all down there, and they're, you know, she's looking at the mask, and they're just comforting each other. There was a few moments where I thought Lydia was going to lean in for a kiss.
Here's why I didn't think that. And again, it's the most boring Dave cameo reason why it is that way. Not nearly as exciting as your brain. Where like every emotional scene is a porno. You know what I mean?
I'm not that bad.
No, you're not. But like now I'm like wondering if there is something there hiding behind the surface. Like, could this be a porno? No, wait. Could that scene be a porno? Maybe. Like I don't know.
It all could be. Any of them.
Listen, you're only sharing a fraction of what's going on in your brain. So what do I know? Anyway, so the reason why I didn't think that at the time is because I was too busy thinking about the end of season 9. Lydia's twice tries to kill herself, and I think twice is thwarted by Carol, if I'm not mistaken.
The one big one, obviously, and yeah. Which
is originally Carol's death in the comic, essentially, right?
Sort
death
of.
by Walker? The idea of this like role reversal, what that means. So then obviously there's a link between these two.
Yeah, she offered herself to a walker.
We never seen that on the show. Only time we see is with Lydia. So now we have a return. Because Carol found a way to not only kind of forgive her, but kind of accept her. It's one thing to forgive. It's another thing to accept. And they did have conversations afterwards. Carol did concern herself with finding Lydia after the fall, essentially. And never really did, but she tried. And this is where you get the Alpha Dream sequence. Carol gets almost buried by that shack that collapses on her, etc. Whatever. And then you have this scene. It says a lot about, for all the things that Carol is hating on herself about in this season, all the things she did in pursuit of trying to destroy, murder, burn down her killers. She forgot about the good things she did along the way. One of which is Lydia. And everything and as Morgan says, I think it was Morgan, everything gets a return. The good things matter too. The things that you do in the past, they mean something. They have an impact. You just forgot. You forgot. And Lydia is a living example of what happens when you take the time to actually do good things. Here's another thing. Had Rick not saved Negan, I don't think that end scene with Beta would have turned out quite the way it did. You know, Beta sees Negan, makes a beeline for him, distracting him just enough so Daryl McTwo-Knives could stab him in the fucking eyes. But there you go.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's so many different things where if Negan had not lived, you know, things may have not turned out the way... Alpha would have definitely not been reached, you know?
Nobody else from our group would have been able to infiltrate that way.
And I don't know about you, but, like, had Alpha lived, it's still possible that she would have met Henry, and yet Alpha would have eventually gotten her hands on Lydia, her original plan, and murdered her.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for Negan, she wouldn't even be around. And I think Negan at some point off screen may have shared that with her, which is why she's able to go to Carol and go, you know, thank you for what you tried to do. I know it's not the ideal way. I know you did some things in pursuit of that to do that, but like, I get it. And she wasn't really a mother ever, really. I wanted her to be, but yeah. So
even before the apocalypse, obviously.
But yeah, you know, they were about to make out. So
my wires were crossed, but you know.
Yours is just way cooler. Just no comparison to like what I will go, well, excuse me, but I really think it's this. It's like, nah, they were about to French kiss, bitch. It's like, should I even bother? I can't compete. I just can't compete. It's just, I mean, I'm going to bring down the room. That's all I'm going to do.
So,
I don't hear bow chicka wow wow.
Right. Well, while everybody was talking about what to do with this herd, and Lydia kept saying, I'll lead them away and da da da, and Daryl's like, no, absolutely not, da da da.
I like that though.
I did too. But my first thought was, why do you have to jump over the edge? Why not just stand there and slowly walk backwards while they're all walking past you?
Or whatever it is that she has to do that.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think she needed to do that. Like, Lydia didn't say, like, guys, I'm going to be fine. Like, I think that's the way she kind of, her impression was, is like, guys, I do this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be fine. But again, like, Daryl's like, no, fuck that shit. I let you go with Carol the first time and look what happened. But no, I mean, it's valid. Like, I think there is a piece of him when he was like shirtless looking at the double capper going, why did I let that happen? You know, I can't do that to, like, do you remember when she was at the infirmary and Daryl's with her and she was relaying the story about her father and how he just smelled like onions?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that little heartfelt moment and he's like holding her and I just got like a little emotional and just going, this is what it could have been like. At the end in the storm when they're walking, it's like, you can really see that, okay, maybe this could be a father figure. We were talking about on Squawking Dead, we were saying how like this could be a really good opportunity for Daryl to have this like steward kind of thing. Like, these are the two of the same abused people, you know, traumatized, PTSD. He has her in the cell and he knows who he's dealing with because he was that.
Yep.
You know, it didn't quite turn out that way, but you get hints of it with that, the story. Now and again, I don't think they fleshed it out quite as well as they could have throughout, but like this one moment where he's like, nah, fuck that. No way.
Right.
No way. You're my kid. Unquote. You know, right. I'm not letting you do that.
No, we'll find another way. Like, there wasn't even, like, he didn't even hesitate. No, we're not doing that.
But Alpha, no. No.
Yeah. You know, and then and then we see Carol at the edge too, and I'm like, just stand there. You don't have to move. You know, or like hide behind a rock, which is what they ended up doing. I'm like, nobody has to die right now. Why is this so macabre? Like, just stand there.
Yeah, and yet, like, she's like, this is it. You know, for everything. No, because you know what it is. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
She's doing it because she feels like she has to, for everything that she's done, for all the piles and piles of bodies she feels responsible for.
Yeah.
Like, we never heard back from Connie. I mean, after a while, you got to assume, yeah, that's it. That's what happened. Yeah. We got Magna back. We weren't that lucky. What did Connie do? I killed Daryl's friend. You know, at least friend. That's just, we won't go there, but like, at least friend. Yeah. You know, well, sees them.
A lot of people's friends, you know.
Right, but like, she sees them parlay. She sees the sign language book in Daryl's back pocket. She knows.
She did it on purpose to get Connie out of the way.
Nah, well, obviously not, because she wants to kill herself.
I'm kidding.
She wants Yumiko to punch her in the face too. Right? That's the thing. Do you remember that scene?
Carol wants, like, she wants to be punished. Yeah.
Like, she said what she said to get herself punched. You know that, right? Absolutely. At the end,
it's I think I said it during our recap. Yeah. She wants to be punished.
Well, then you convince me.
Yeah. Hopefully,
so this is why.
Hopefully now she can stop punishing herself. I mean, her and Lydia got rid of the horde. I mean, that's a pretty big thing. I hope she can.
I think that's going to take some work. Yeah.
Start to forgive herself.
I think maybe we'll get there. And man, if she sees Connie's alive, she can maybe get a little like relief.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I'll never let that happen again, sort of thing.
Right.
But hold up, what's Connie going to think?
I was just thinking about that. Knowing Connie, I don't think she'll blame Carol. I mean, Connie.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think she will. I think she'll just say, you know, shit happens. I'm glad I made it out.
But we don't know, right? Because I mean,
she is spending time with Virgil, though. He might twist her mind up.
He might give her some of that ginseng weed.
Yeah, he's gonna send her on a spirit walk.
You want to smoke this shit?
She's gonna dream about Carol.
God. Oh my God. I thought I was in heaven, but I was really making out with Carol. Why was Lydia watching?
Oh my God.
Anyway.
She likes to watch.
Yes, we could be something different.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so
I'm terrible.
You just made this podcast, right? That's the clip right now. But I'm gonna just clip together every time. I just kept on piling on. See, Luke's choice of song was "Burning Down the House" by Talking Heads. Talking Heads, and there's so much to that. First of all, the band Talking Heads.
Talking Heads.
Beta hearing voices. And then heads on pikes.
Mm-hmm. Alpha's had everybody's, talking heads on the spikes.
Exactly. You can have a chorus. So watch out. You might get what you're after. It's like, don't be afraid to succeed, Beta. Go and get it. I'm an ordinary guy. That lyric was interesting. Beta's always had delusions of grandeur. He just wasn't satisfied with his fame as Half Moon. He just lost that satisfaction with fame.
Okay. I was thinking Ezekiel's episode, just some guy.
Oh yeah. That's a good one too. Yeah, sure. And then obviously burning down the house, Beta's going to go for broke. And I'm also thinking like suicide mission maybe. Like if I got to go, I'm going to be surrounded by the chance of my crowd, you know? Mm-hmm. Hold tight, wait till the party's over. So enjoy good things as they don't last. Hold tight, we're in for nasty weather. There's got to be a way. We'll get through troubled times. Describing the tower, like batten down the hatches, you know, we'll figure it out. Now, here's a ticket, pack your bag.
I'm singing it.
Right? And I am too. So time for jumping overboard. The transportation is here. Close enough, but not too far. Maybe you know where you are. Because this whole thing is very interesting. Negan gives Lydia the mask. So here's your ticket. Get out while the getting's good. Time for jumping overboard, right? Mm-hmm. With his own mask too. Okay, so close enough to being a hero for giving her the mask, maybe. So that's like close enough but not too far. Maybe you know where you are, maybe you don't, Negan. I thought that was very interesting. So like now I'm like at this point in the lyrics, I'm like, is this whole episode scripted around this song?
Maybe.
Because that's what it looks like. Okay.
They got the lines to fit the scenes.
Maybe.
Lyrics, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so fighting fire with fire, right? Using the Guardians against the Whispers, shooting them with the arrows, and then they go down, and then the Whispers go down, right? Yep. But the Whispers are using the dirty bomb against Gabe and company. So you remember that last dirty bomb that didn't go off at the top of the stairs where Judith is? You see it, the guy's crawling up and it's right in front of his face. Yeah. They use that, they dismantle it, use the dirty bomb against them. So fighting fire with fire. They chop down the door. Remember they were hacking at the door with the axe? Yeah. In that hole, they actually threw the dirty bomb in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
All wet. Hey, you might need a raincoat. Guts ponchos.
Right. More blood.
Right. Exactly. More. And Greg Nicotero. More blood. More blood. Shakedown dreams. Shakedown dreams. Okay, I'm trying not to sing the song in my head or out loud. Actually, shakedown dreams. Dreams walking in broad daylight. The Whispers. Right. That's all I wrote. 365 degrees. Guardians everywhere. That's all I wrote. It was once a place. Sometimes I listen to myself. Gonna come in first place. Beta hears voices, thinking the Guardians are cheering him on, bringing down the end of the world. That's where I came. Like I listened to myself coming in first place. Mm-hmm. Like he's like, yeah, that's right, bitches. I got my Guardians all telling me I'm doing a great job. That's as far as I went. There's more like the last few lyrics I just couldn't parse out, and I didn't want to spend too much time on it because then it kind of broke apart. But most of the song just maps on really well.
Perfect, yeah. When I heard the song, first of all, I mean, it's a fucking awesome song. So I was just like, hell yeah. And then I thought, oh yeah, we're burning down their house. This is a perfect song to play. Well, we're taking them down. But yeah,
exactly.
I like what you said better.
No, but like, that's kind of the point, because there's some of these lines are actually reflexive. It's like, okay, it's not just the heroes winning, but it's also the others gaining ground too. So it's like, for example, like fighting fire with fire, like both teams used what they would normally use against the other, you know? Yep. So that's, you know, like using the Guardians against each other, like the kind of fire with fire. You know, normally the gang wouldn't use walkers against their enemies. They would use it for cover or use it for distraction, but they wouldn't literally use it against them. Like by the time our gang is trying to do the upswing thing where they're going after them, you know, they're defeated, the cart is down, they were just going to lead the walkers over the edge and then take care of whatever's left over.
Last time we saw that was Shane. He used the walkers when he killed Otis.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's just leave that there. That's a debate. That's a fighting argument. So anyways, just yeah. And so when they went after them again, fighting fire with fire, we used the walkers against our gang. We used the element of night, you know, to slip between everything so that the Guardians couldn't see them. And they kind of like worked their way through the Guardian. I keep saying Guardians, but now it just works. Like ninjas. I just love that end scene right before they get to Beta, where they kind of
so cool. It was like it reminded me of like a horror film, right? Like Beta was trapped in like a horror movie, and my favorite shot was Magna. Hers was my favorite, and she's just like, and the thing drops, and she just stands there and slowly backs away, and I'm like, that's creepy.
With that sort of like, with her kind of looking up as her head is down, sort of like her eyes are kind of like that. Yeah. And then we keep seeing it. You know, we see somebody, you know, take out a whisper, and then sort of, you know, dip disappear
back into
behind the corner.
Yeah, like how creepy.
It was less creepy than it was kind of like, oh yeah, this shit's happening.
Well, I was pretending to be Beta in that scene, so it was creepy, but yes, it was also tactful.
Right, fighting fire with fire, and Beta's just kind of like, what's happening? Why are there screams? You're not supposed to scream. That's not what we do when we die. Apparently not.
Right? You're supposed to smile and take it.
Yeah, that's right. We embrace death. We are free. Exactly. Doesn't quite map on, does it? Except for Beta. He's a true believer. He's the prophet.
That's right.
Jules. I'm channeling the Chris in me because I had him in my head when I saw this. Everybody else is covered with guts. Everybody's filthy. The hoods kind of just go over their face, their foreheads and stuff like that. They're kind of obscured. You know, they're walking through the crowd like this with their heads down. This is like the Lydia, it's cold outside, zip up your jacket kind of moment. Jules, pristine, white, blonde hair sticking out from underneath the hood. I'm watching her walk through the crowd, and all I keep thinking is Ashley Weidman's voice in the back of my head. Jules, cover your fucking face.
Yeah, yep. I said the same thing as they were walking out. I'm like, no one has anything on their face.
But Jules more than everybody else, right? Oh, yeah, and you're right. That is a huge thing you could pick on everybody. But like hers, it's like, you know those people that walk around with the hood? Okay, what is the point of a hoodie, right? When I put this on, I'm like, yeah, now I'm warmer, right? But then, because I just did it right for the people who are listening, I just put my hoodie on right now to illustrate how you're supposed to put on hoodie. Yes, I'm warmer now. It is up to my, you know, the maximum part where it doesn't look stupid, right? And I don't look like a KKK member with the thing going up like this, right? So
exactly, you pull it too far forward, and
what does Jules do? Here's a profile shot. She goes, "That's fashionable." I just put it right at the back of my head so that it looks like it's sort of on.
I just want to look cool.
I just want to look cool. That's what it looked like to me, and I'm just like, oh, she's so dead. And yet, she's not the one who dies. It's Beatrice. Trying to save the fucking world, Beatrice. Oh, are you? I can't even see you cry.
She should have died.
I wish I could see you. You're all frozen, but I'll see you later.
Oh.
I suppose. That's okay. I can hear you sniff. That's the bone to pick. Now here's the bigger one. I was going to bring this up at the top of the show, and I was hoping Carol would be there because we just posted a clip on social media, and it's also when we were actually doing the season 10 coverage. Father Gabriel's getting Father Gabriel's death. Nah. I literally jumped up and I went, nah. na 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 na. I win. I win. As the whispers were coming in, let me just paint the scene for you. Gabe gets in a really few good shots. He's struggling. He's not ready to give up. He's going, arr, 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 right? He's like,
just like that. And
let me tell you the quote, just as he's pulling out the shotgun and narrowing his sight. Proverbs 18:10. He says, the Lord's house is a tower. The righteous enter and are safe, right? The line is, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. So whatever, I guess Hollywood plays with things. So the way he said it makes more sense because it is called the tower, whatever. Badass lines, okay? He's like fully badass. And so like, look, mentally in my head, I'm like, if this is the way it's going to go, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. You were too, right? When you were watching that scene, what were you feeling at the time?
I mean, so when it was finally happening, I was like, oh man. And I think I even said out loud to Eric, I'm like, I don't like him that much, but wait.
Because they're painting him out. There's like, he's saving people. He's like protecting, he's giving Judith this like, and let's talk about that. Yeah. First of all, do you realize that Judith understands Spanish? She's the one who translated. Right? Is there anything she does not know how to do?
Who has time to teach her Spanish?
I don't know. I have no idea, but she's reading, Russian English translation. So he gives that to Luke. Sure.
Maybe she taught herself. She can read.
But did you know what that means? Because Gabriel doesn't really explain it. Eres mi media naranja, right? That means you're the other half of my orange, which in Venezuelan is a common phrase, which means you're my other half. So he's telling Judith to tell Rosita, you are my other half. You're my soulmate. I didn't know what that meant. Did you understand that from what he was saying?
In the moment, no. I thought there's something about a half an orange that we just don't know yet. I don't know. Maybe they shared an orange together.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking this is the funny part. Like I was thinking, he did the thing once, and that's what got him to win her over. He did the thing with the orange peel in the mouth. Right? That's what I was thinking because I'm like white and lame. That's what I am, white, lame. And by the way, so like all the way up into the moment, I was like, it's happening. It's happening. This is the moment. I've been prepared. I heard the cackling of Carol in my brain at the moment, which I'm like, no, but okay, if it's going to happen, we knew it's righteous. It's noble. He's got some good licks in this episode showing strength. Even though he bumps into Diane, he's still him, which gives you that reminder of that he's still him. Just before I get to my gloating moment, what do we see right before Negan is about to get it? And part of me was also thinking like, Beta's going to kill Negan. Like the knife is right overhead. The shot is like of Negan looking up. Mm-hmm. Same with Gabriel. Right before he is supposed to die, the Savior's got him and he's just about to shoot. And then all of a sudden the arrow goes through the chest and it's Maggie. And it's like the ninja guy comes in, he busts some moves. And that was pretty fucking badass, right? First of all, I just can't believe that. I can't believe it.
That he survived?
I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. Wait, whoa, this opens up a whole new world. Last year, we knew that Zeke was supposed to go. We knew that Rosita was supposed to go, and yet they didn't. And they're still around. They made it through a whole other season. The easy thing we could try to assume is that, he's just going to get it later. But now, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anymore. And that's really cool. I really don't know. We can't keep playing the same game where we think, it's like Abraham. He didn't get his death with the arrow in the back or front of his head. So, he'll just get it later.
Well, having comic book knowledge, almost means nothing anymore. It really does. It means absolutely nothing.
Is Georgie Pamela Milton?
We have no idea.
I don't even think so. I think they're two different groups now.
Did you see Johnny Five's Alive post that he tagged me in?
No, Johnny Five's Alive. Let's just give everybody context. Johnny Five's Alive is an editor on Instagram. Lately, he's been going ham on Tales of the Walking Dead. He's been setting all these scenes of these things are not quite, the stories are not quite finished that they could do. And so he's been telling them via visuals, this is what you could do.
Well, he had originally posted a photo of Mercer and then, an army of the Commonwealth people back there. And it was Terry Crews as Mercer. And I commented on it and I said, after Sunday, we just lost one agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now we need to replace it with another. I said they should cast Henry Simmons as Mercer. Oh. And so he totally redid the edit and put Henry Simmons in Mercer's outfit.
Oh, yeah. I'm not.
How awesome would that be? I think he'd be great in that role.
Yeah, I mean,
I do.
the Shermar Moore, a lot of people are saying also, obviously, because not because we brought it up, but it's weird that people are on the same wavelength about that.
I think Shermar Moore's...
He's too pretty.
Well, I don't know. Well, there's that. I mean, he is very pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on Criminal Minds forever. He's on that SWAT show now. I almost feel like he's almost too mainstream.
Yeah, he's
like too well known.
Too pretty, in a way, too glitzy, and you're right, too well known is not always great.
Yeah, right. I don't like when I look at an actor in something and then I immediately relate them to another character.
Well, that's why, like, we wouldn't even think Terry Crews, because we have to also know, in the comic, is he kind of like almost comic relief, Abraham Ford like, or is he serious? What is he like?
He's, the leader of the Commonwealth Army. So, he's a serious character, but, he's not as funny as Abraham, I would say, but
right.
We eventually he gets along with our group. So somebody that we'll see for a while, I think.
The one rumor that Angela Kang immediately dispelled is that the steel masked ninja guy is not Mercer.
That didn't even cross my mind.
It crossed some people's minds, and so that's why Kirsten Acuna asked the question. We posted the article and all that stuff.
Oh.
But speaking of the steel masked ninja,
Mercer's not one of these guys.
Yeah, Mercer's more like
he's one of these guys.
He's like more of a pippity pop. You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah. He's like a conk you on the head kind of guy.
He's like Donkey Kong, but in human form.
Yeah.
But with actual one-liners. But yeah, like speaking of that, do you remember that moment where like the man with the metal arm met the man with the metal face, and how that played out?
Yeah.
Just thought that.
Do you remember we were convinced this was a woman? Were you surprised when Maggie's like, he's with me, and I'm like, he
getting little drips,
right?
But by the way, I don't think it even matters who is cast for that role. I feel like this is one of those Michonne moments where we see her at the end of the season, and it's actually literally being played by another person because she's so deep into the shadows with the hood. Yeah, they gave it a summer or whatever it is. They gave it time to cast that character. So this could be one of those things too. They hired a real stuntman, play all the parts, blah, 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 and then when we finally do the reveal, maybe they never do the reveal. Maybe Heath is out there. Maybe that is Heath. Maybe it's not at all. See what I mean? Ever since we did, which by the way, we're referencing the very beginning, or I think near the beginning of our episode 100 part 1, where we discussed The Walking Dead season 8. And in it, one of the first things we say is that after all these years with Gimple and everybody is saying you will see Heath again, the PPP card means something, or I think it was Kirkman actually who said that. You will see Heath again. The PPP means something, blah, blah. It's been, I don't know. It's been 3 years. We still haven't seen him yet. People are alluding to the fact that even Angela Kang is piling on. So yeah, we'll definitely see him. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. Maybe the whole point is to get us to keep saying, we'll see him this year, right? We'll see him in the movies, right? Yeah. Of course he's going to be in the movies. We won't see him in the movies. It's just this long troll con, Are
you going to be broken if we never see Heath again?
No. You?
No.
Right? Because it's built up to be this thing now.
It's like it's either going to happen or it's not, and I'm at this point I'm cool either way.
I see. I wish Carol was here right now. She'd be like, "No, it means something. It has to. We didn't see a body."
Oh, I'm more concerned about the card than I am with Heath.
I almost think that's bullshit too. Like of
the card,
all the things that like I harp about that actually may mean something, and they do. It feels like there's a connection. That thing has meant nothing for 3 fucking years. So no, thank you. I'm not willing to go down. We weren't even covering season 7. Everything in every season, always something came out of it. And they even brought back the orange backpack guy into the Virgil episode, right?
Right.
Still got to mean something, right?
I'm not holding my breath though.
Me neither. After episode 100 part 1, I'm just like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done thinking Heath isn't anything. I'm done thinking we'll see Jadis again. I'm done with even thinking we'll see Rick again. This is how over it I am. I want to, but I'm not holding my breath for anything anymore. I'll just take what comes. This is the new normal. This is the pandemic right now talking. It's like, you know what? I'll just take it and I'll enjoy it if I do, and I won't enjoy it if I won't. How about that? Maybe we're not going to make Heath out to be something that it isn't for 3 years. Funk that. Spunk it.
In that scene where we see Aaron and Alden running through the forest, you see that Whisperer running behind them, right?
Yeah, about to get him from behind.
Aaron sees him and then keeps running in the other direction. Like, and I kept waiting for Ninja Dude to, like, you know, throw something and kill him, you know, behind Aaron and Alden.
Right.
And that didn't happen. He's just like, watch out, look at me. And I'm like, there's a Whisperer behind you. I don't care how you pose.
The man with the metal face.
Right?
I don't know, man. Because by the way, the way you see Alden put down that walker just before that panning scene, right? Doesn't it feel like he kind of just went, or like, it feels like he went like this. He just threw the guy on the ground. Didn't feel like he actually stabbed him. It was just like,
it was all one swift motion.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very suave and smooth Alden kill.
He's getting good at this.
Yeah.
He's smooth about it now.
It felt like an Ed Wood movie. It was just like, it was actually, you didn't see him stab it, but you kind of assume it, right? But no, it just feels like he went like a schoolyard bully.
Just push him on.
You're supposed to go down. Just go. Don't worry. We've done this take like 15 times. Just go down. Don't worry. Nobody's gonna see me stab you. Just go down.
Stay down.
What if it was like one of those things where they did like 90 takes and then Cal and the Cough just can't get that kill right for some reason. It's like hot and sticky.
Or like that was actually the best take.
Yeah, that was the best take. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's what they had to use. All the rest were garbage.
But what if that was the first take? They just kept trying to get the magic.
Maybe they only did it once and they're like, that's good enough. Keep going.
Yeah. It's good. I'm not coming in for reshoots for this bullshit.
Right.
Because then they have to pan to the guy going again, like can you imagine? I'm not doing that. That shit took all my breath.
Right? I conked himself on the head a few times, whipping those things around.
But you know what we got to do next? We have to run really quickly through who you think that is. Because, I mean, we've got two big possibilities. We've got Cal and we've got Eduardo. These are two people that are on the table, period. We haven't seen them for many years. It could just be that they both went with Maggie.
I think Cal is too tall.
Is he? I have no idea.
Well, I'm trying to picture him like standing next to Maggie or standing next to somebody. I thought he's kind of a taller guy. Now Eduardo, he was that could be the similar stature. But if I'm being completely honest, I think this masked person is going to be someone we have not even met yet.
I have a feeling too. Yeah.
I think it's going to be somebody totally new.
And again, I'm not 100% sure that this is somebody that she met where she was.
Well, did you watch Talking Dead?
I did.
So did you hear what Lauren Cohen said about?
I don't remember.
So I'm not going to get it perfectly, but essentially she was talking to Angela Kang and said, you know, am I going to have some sort of new skill? You know, I've been gone all this while. Do I have any new skills? Do I have like a cool new weapon? Or like, what have I been doing all this time? And their answer to that was to give her a human weapon.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, maybe Pamela Milton is Maggie. I mean,
maybe.
That's the MO, right? Of Pamela Milton is that, you know, she doesn't really fight her own battles. She kind of sends other people to do it.
Yeah. Well,
essentially.
Not kind of, like
literally. Yeah.
She's hands off.
But that's like that's the ethos, right? That's the raison d'etre. That's the thing that defines her.
She's more, you know, the suit that makes decisions.
Like Gregory.
Yeah.
But more grand, like in terms of like actual effect.
Well, and I think there's a part of Pamela that believes she's doing the right thing. I mean, it's all wrong.
Kind of like who? Kind of like Maggie at the time, season 9.
I was going to say kind of like Negan.
Oh boy. Yeah. Recurring themes. But
in his own way, he thought he was doing good.
No, by the way, I just want to say out loud, like with respect to Maggie, at the time, even though I didn't like the fact that because I'm a Rick stan, as they say, like even though at the time I was like kind of like that sucks, Maggie, that really sucks. I was still able to appreciate the fact that she was like showing backbone. If I let the Saviors drag down the hilltop, I will have failed as a leader. And so in that moment, I was kind of like, you know, it sucks that you're fucking doing this, but there's something about your character development that I like this. I mean, even though I don't want this, I like it. Her coming back and maybe being this Pamela Milton is that to the nth degree, which would be interesting and shocking too, by the way. And what does that tie in? That neatly finally comes back around full circle to the end of season 8. That little conspiracy room that Maggie, Daryl, and Jesus were in. And now Daryl's on a completely different plane. Jesus is on a different mortal coil. And then there's Maggie, who may have had this seed planted. We've had the seed planted at the end of season 8. Is it one of those things that just doesn't go anywhere? Like the blue paint, like the PPP, like keys, all that stuff? Is it that one scene is like, should I never have put it in there? This could be the one thing that actually makes that scene make sense. She is Pamela Milton. Let that quote ring out in case I'm right, at the end of season 11 down the road. Like, oh shit, she was the whole time. We said that in this episode. Nobody cares, Squawking Dead. Nobody cares. What am I, Thorgon? Anyway.
Well, I will definitely be the opposite of that. I don't think Maggie's Pamela.
Either, but I like to play.
Yeah. I mean, I could...
You could contort yourself to think that she could be. Do you remember the whole Madison Clark is alpha thing? It's similar to that theory.
Okay, if Maggie was in a Pamela role, leader of the Commonwealth, as we know it to be in the comic books, why would Maggie not send for her group? Why would she not say, hey, I have a much more secure place, or at the very least, open a trade route with them? Hey, We've got all these supplies. What do you need? What do you have that we need? I mean, if she was really the leader of a huge community like that, I gotta believe she would have reached back out.
Yeah, and you're right. And yeah, I guess we'll have to see, because that does make sense. But that also opens up all those other questions, like why didn't she come back? Why didn't she communicate at all? She could have said, I've done enough damage. It's time for me to move on. I wish you guys the best of luck. I never wanted to turn out this way, etc., etc., etc. She could have said all that, right? Maybe she did. Maybe we'll go back to a letter to Jesus where she says, I'm happy here, which, we did get at the time. We did hear, oh, Maggie's doing well, blah, blah, blah. I haven't made the latest pickup from Oceanside. Something about near Oceanside where they left the messages and whatever. Hey, maybe Tom Paine will kind of make a reappearance in terms of a flashback. We don't know.
Maybe. We're also assuming that Maggie left of her own volition. What if she was forced out? Maybe she was given an ultimatum.
That's a good point too.
I mean,
that is a really good point.
We don't know why she left.
Yeah, maybe. If she was forced out, she was forced out of Hilltop. Ousted. I keep walking around like assuming that she must have left because of the guilt. We don't know. You're right. We don't know. I mean, we do know that she decided to go there. We don't know why, but the way Jesus says it is like after being hounded to respond to letters and blah, 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 she finally decided to join her. I mean, you can do a 1 + 1 = 2 thing, but you're right. We don't know. The way he made it.
We know where she ended up.
Yeah.
She chose where she ended up.
Yeah. The way he made it seem is that she finally accepted Georgie's offer to go there, kind of thing. That's what it made it seem. Yeah. Finally accepted, maybe, right?
So she might not even be leaving out of guilt, but leaving for a better opportunity.
Yeah. Right. She might not
have any guilt.
Which is what you were expressing from the beginning of the episode. Exactly. You may not be guilt at all. Right. Exactly. Just so everybody knows, that's kind of the point of these supplemental 6 episodes is getting the backstory. And why 6 episodes? What's interesting about that? The 6-year time jump? Maybe one for each year, or like representative of like, okay, we're going to cover that time now.
Yeah. When do those come out? Have they said?
There's no timeline yet. It is just past the development point, and I think they're only now kind of getting the writing down.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
But it's not a part of season 11, right?
No, it's actually still part of season 10.
So are they going to call it
10-17, 10-18?
10. Oh. Yep. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so just to bookend that to the point where Lauren Cohan even said the way we're filming it because of COVID, etc., is we're going to be doing this digitally. So it could be one of those Althea situations where you don't quite get like a steady cam or whatever, something like that, but you may get like digital cameras or like maybe even smartphone footage of what's going on. So maybe something like that. It is strange, but she said something about it's going to be filmed on digital. That's what she said, to quote, which usually implies, okay, it's going to be kind of a lo-fi performance or like not using Panavision digital cameras.
What sparked all of it? What's the reason for doing all this? Like, sorry about COVID or what? I don't.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but where did this come from?
Yeah, right. The question you're asking is essentially like, why do the backtrack? Why not do it in pursuit of the narrative? Like, okay, we can backtrack while we're going forward, right? Or was this even planned from the beginning? They were just going to drop it in our lap at the last second, like, meaning like, have they always meant to do that or not? Right? Could be.
Yeah.
Could be because of this. Could be that they saw this as an opportunity. We're going to be figuring out what Maggie's been doing this whole time. These are episodes from her point of view. Could be a little bit of going forward, a little bit of going back. So maybe there is going to be some present scenes with maybe her in it. Who knows? But it's definitely going to do the job of trying to explain what Maggie's been up to quote Angela Kang. It's kind of like when you explain, oh, there's a Daryl and Carol spinoff, but when you think Daryl and Carol, you think only Daryl and Carol, right? You're not thinking about all the other characters that are going to be involved in this. choice. Like, it could be that Judith goes with them. It could be that Lydia goes with them, right? But because when you say Daryl and Carol spinoff, you don't think that. So maybe these Maggie episodes, well, yeah, maybe they'll involve some present scenes. Maybe they'll go the way of explaining things, how they recover, but then also have that point of view where they flash back to her wherever she is explaining. And it probably goes all the way until the moment where, I mean, assuming this is true, where they pick up Eugene, Princess, Yumiko, and Zeke. So like, it'll find its way to the to absolutely the present, and then you could then you can start season 11 at some point. Which by the way, you know, having 6 episodes being tacked on to season 10 will make it 22 episodes of season 10, and season 11 will have a full 24 episodes or 3 sections of 8. So we're gonna have 8, 8, and 8 is what I'm thinking. They're gonna have 2 mid-season breaks.
I could see that,
which gives it room to do 2 things. The second part of The Walking Dead World Beyond, so it's going to have 2 seasons, and perhaps leaves room for Fear the Walking Dead season 7, assuming a lot of things work out really well in this season for Fear the Walking Dead. So we could potentially have even more content before we even get to the spin-offs, before we even get to Tales of the Walking Dead. So as a podcast, I'm not really that concerned about like where we're headed. I think we're headed in a really good direction.
We got stuff to cover.
I mean, think about how British television works, by the way. Like, British television, okay, like, it's a season. Oh, yeah, season is 6 episodes. Oh, wait, no, it's a series? A whole series is 6 episodes? All right, you're going off with a bang. All right, cool.
What?
Good for you. British television is like that. They just don't waste time. They're like, oh, your whole season is 7 episodes? Oh, you're doing 2 seasons? Oh, you're doing half a season. All right, cool. You could have just split the 7 episodes somehow. Giving them 3, then do another 4, and then, you know, give them like a 2-episode special and call it a day.
Jeez, like 1 episode a month.
And here we are. We're like, give us more. We're like this. Give us more episodes of The Walking Dead. It's like every season is like 16. We're like, you know, giving people grief.
We want more.
Can we not have a full 24 episode season as we're stuffing our faces with Bob's leg?
Now it's Brianna's leg.
Yeah, exactly. Churrascaria. Mas? Yes, mas. Give me more. More Brianna. Yum, yum. Anyway. That was hysterical. I don't know what.
Okay. They go on a certain way, and I put them on wrong. I was going to...
See, you didn't put your hoodie on like Jules. You could have avoided all that.
Oh, that's right. Wait, I got to put it on like Jules. There you go.
You know,
there.
That gets to stay in now.
Do I look cool now? Am I like cool like Jules?
Actually, you kind of do. You really do. Oh.
Well, I have like Velcro hair, so.
Oh yeah, look at that. See, Jules needs that. I guess they must have pinned it that. I'm kidding.
They must have. So I was gonna bring this out since we said goodbye to him this episode.
Oh, Beta Bear!
My Beta Bear
from Iron Angel Creations.
That's right. This is from Iron Angels Creations, and she still has them. She's doing all kinds of different bears right now. She has a princess bear that I have coming.
Right, that new bear she revealed. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, good for you.
Yep, I'm getting a princess bear. I got a mermaid and a voodoo doll. So it's not just Walking Dead stuff either. Like, she has like a little baby Yoda, or not, well, the child,
right,
you know.
The child, right.
It's absolutely adorable. So everyone needs to go check out what she's got. And she's running sales right now too.
Oh, okay. So how much did you pick those up for? Might as well do the advertising for her.
Right? Oh my gosh. I got the princess bear, which is this size, decent. The mermaid and a voodoo doll. And I only paid, I think, $70 or $80 for all of those. These are for all 3 of those things. They're handmade. They are so soft and cuddly. They're absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Unreplicatable.
Yeah.
Unreplicable.
No. The emotions were too genuine.
Too hot. Yeah.
Right? It was a little smiley.
The little stitching in the back. I thought that was cute.
Yeah. Look at his mask is all stitched up. Got hair and blood.
Yeah. Oh my God. You should you should sew in 2 knitted knives in his eyes now.
Oh, right.
That'd be funny.
Oh, it's too far away. I'm not going through the headphone hassle again.
Oh, wait here.
I just got my Jewel hood back up.
Perfectly. So. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm cool like Jules.
Yeah, exactly. We're too cool for Jules. Damn it. Oh boy. All right. Anyways, so with that, everybody, thank you guys for joining us for our first, finally official kind of. Yeah, exactly. We're covering an episode. It is official coming back. Episode 101. It's good to be back in the saddle. We're just going to get back on tomorrow night as we record The Walking Dead World Beyond's series premiere called Brave. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you like what we heard, ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead, 5 stars and an eggplant. Tell us exactly how much you love us. But if you want to include some more, that'd be great. If you want to support the podcast, ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. For less than a cup of coffee, one time, you'll get access to 30 days worth of content. If you just subscribe to a coffee or more a month, the party will keep on rolling. You'll always be in the know for new things. You'll always have access to these new things, like this unedited recording, which maybe you just picked up and are enjoying. I hope you are, because I'm going to tell you right now, episode 100 with all 5 parts, most of it's going to be left on the cutting room floor. You're going to get so many insights, so many cross references for that episode in all 5 parts. It's like, it totals 5 times 15. It's 15 hours worth of content.
I was going to say, it's got to be easily over 12 hours of recording.
Yeah, 12 is a conservative number. 12 hours of unedited recordings that you can speed up, go through, listen to all these insights, all the technical difficulties you can actually just move past, unless you really want to see me if you really want to see me have the most uncomfortable face going, can you get your shit together? It's been an hour. Anyway, you get to see me be uncomfortable. Anyways, if you want any of that stuff, coffee.com/squawkingdead. That's ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. Thank you so much for making it. We'll see you really soon, probably in another day as this thing premieres, and probably just before the episode 2 of The Walking Dead World Beyond is on, and Fear the Walking Dead season premiere of season 6. Thank you. Good night. Take care. We'll see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.